Hi everyone, back again with fast recaps. In this video, I will recap one of a mystery film from 2022 titled Glass Onion. Before we get to the storyline, don't forget to subscribe and like for more movie recaps and have a great day. The movie starts when a group of friends receives a mysterious wooden box from their rich friend, Miles Braun. The group includes Claire, the governor of Connecticut, Bertie, a controversial fashion designer, Duke, an online streamer, and Lionel, the chief scientist of Miles' company. They all get excited to see the box and get on a group call.
It's a compass.
Ma!
The box is closed from all sides and has no opening, so they look for clues, and with each other's help, they successfully solve all the puzzles and unlock the box. Miles had invited them all to his private island for vacations, and on the invitation note, he had also mentioned a murder mystery.
Long weekend on my private island!
But these aren't the only ones who received the mystery box with the invitation letter. Another friend of Miles receives the parcel, and instead of calling others for help, she decides to take things into her own hands. She uses a big hammer and solves the puzzle in no time. Blanc is a private detective who gets bored with no case, so he spends most of his time at home solving puzzles or playing video games with his friends. He is eager to find a nice mystery that will give his boring life some purpose.
There's someone here for you! With a box!
One by one, the whole group arrives at their pickup point in Greece to visit Miles' private island. The squad includes Lincoln, Duke, his girlfriend Whiskey, Claire, Bertie, and her assistant Peg. They all are very happy to see one another, but when the strange lady who opened the box with the hammer shows up, their moods change very quickly. They are surprised Miles invited her and why she chose to come here since she doesn't like him. This wasn't the only surprise entry, as Detective Blanc also comes to join them on their trip. He tells them that he was sent the same box as them, and he thinks this may be a serious case. Miles's men come to take them to the island, but before they get on the ship, Miles's assistant sprays their mouths with a mysterious chemical. This chemical supposedly makes them all immune to COVID. On their 2-hour-long journey to the island, Blanc notices that the rest of the group is very distant from the lady who showed up at the last minute. Lincoln notices his interest in her and tells him that Miles started his company, Alpha, with Andy 10 years ago, but later, he ousted her from her own company. Lincoln then wonders why she came on his invitation, as he hates them all. They finally arrive at their destination, where Miles is playing guitar to welcome them all. He greets his best friends but is surprised to see Andy and Blanc.
You're here.
I am.
The host guides them to their rooms and tells them that they will play their game later. He then meets Blanc and asks him about his surprise entry. Blanc tells him that he was invited in the same manner as others. Miles finds it weird because he only made a few boxes that were sent to his 5 friends, so where did his box come from? Blanc suggests that someone reused their box and sent it to him. And he thinks that it may have some mystery attached to it, so he wants to stay on his island till everything gets clear. Miles allows him to stay with the others, and they all start enjoying their time on the island. Everyone enjoys Miles' house, where they swim and joke, but things are not as happy and good as they look to be.
Oh my god!
Really?
While they are all enjoying, Miles starts telling Blanc about his vision as a great businessman and innovator. Miles's story makes Andy unhappy. She starts telling the truth about why the whole group practically worships Miles. She tells Blanc that all of Miles's friends are bought by him. He has invested a large amount of money in all of their businesses and offered them jobs at important positions in his company. She leaves after her whole dramatic monologue, and then Blanc overhears Peg talking to Miles over a statement that Miles has asked Bertie to give before the media about a controversial incident. Blanc catches Duke watching his girlfriend flirt with Miles. Later the whole group gathers in the dining hall, and here, Miles shows his friends the painting of the Mona Lisa. Everyone thinks that it's fake, but then he reveals that it's the real painting of the Mona Lisa that he leased from the French Museum. He also shows them the security measures he took to safeguard the painting. Miles tells them that the real beauty of the painting can only be seen without the glass, so he presses a button and shows them the painting without any glass. They ask him why he made so much effort. He answers that he always visioned that one day he would do something as big as the great painting of the Mona Lisa. He also shows them his special hydrogen-based fuel called Clear, which he plans to launch before the world leaders, which will soon gather at his island. Miles tells them that his whole island, the Glass Onion, is powered by this new energy source. This explanation doesn't ease Lionel's worries as he and his scientists think the fuel can be very dangerous and needs further testing before it can be launched. At the dining table, Blanc tells everyone the details of his murder mystery. He gives them 1 week to solve his murder, which will soon occur. Blanc tells them he has solved the murder mystery. He tells them that Miles stole Bertie's diamond, and now she must have planned some revenge. He then tells them Bertie planned to use a remote-controlled device to shoot an arrow toward Blanc. Soon the arrow comes out and hits Miles. He goes to his room, where Blanc follows him, and Miles tells him that he has disrupted his holiday plan. He paid a famous writer to create the whole plan for this murder mystery, but now it's solved even before it could start. Blanc tells him that he is here to ensure that everyone remains safe, as he thinks things can be more serious than they seem to be. He tells Miles that maybe someone tries to kill him during this holiday, to which Miles replies that he trusts his friends. Meanwhile, the group discusses whether they should all leave the party now as the murder mystery is all over. While they are still thinking about this, Andy comes and lashes out at why they betrayed her. Duke tells her they all saw an opportunity and chose to stay with Miles. Andy gets angry and rushes towards her room. Duke gets a notification on his phone, and his expressions change to happiness, and even Miles notices his smile. He asks him what he is happy about, and Duke shows him the phone where his channel viewership has skyrocketed. He then asks Miles if he can get a spot on Miles's news channel. Miles says yes, and they both start celebrating. However, this happiness is only short-lived. Duke starts choking and dies on the spot. Detective Blanc rushes to the scene and tells them they must stay away from the victim and wait till the police arrive. He believes that this was a murder. However, Miles points out that the glass Duke used was not his but that of Miles. This suggests that the killer wanted to kill Miles and not Duke. Blanc also notices that the gun Duke carried everywhere with him is missing, which further scares Miles, who hides behind Blanc and asks him to save him and solve this case. Miles promises to reward Blanc if he solves this case.
Help me!
Just then, the lights go off, which Miles had planned for his murder mystery. He gets scared now and runs to save himself in the dark. Detective Blanc goes out, and here he runs into Andy. He tells her that Duke is dead and his gun is missing. He asks her if she took his gun, to which she asks why she would take his gun. He is about to ask her something important when someone shoots her from a window. Everyone hears the gunshot, and they all gathered inside the house to discuss who might have killed both Duke and Andy. Blanc tells everyone that he knows someone who can answer all these questions, and he then starts narrating his story from the beginning. He tells them that one day, a girl came to his house with the invitation letter and the broken box.
Is this Benoit Blanc's residence?
And she told him that she feared her sister was killed by someone and was made to look like a suicide. She shows him her sister's diary, where she has written her life's whole story right from the beginning. She tells him that the idea of Alpha Company was not coined by Miles but by her sister Cassandra. She introduces the whole group to Miles, but later their loyalties change, and they betray her for him. Miles and Cassandra started the company, but later they both got into a big dispute over this new fuel named Clear. Andy and the engineers thought that it was too dangerous. While Miles was not ready to let go of this idea, he pushed her out of the company. Later in the court hearing, all her friends betrayed Cassandra and said that the idea of the company was made by Miles on a napkin. In reality, it was all Cassandra's idea, but she had lost the real napkin on which she wrote so that she couldn't prove her story. Just before her death, she found her napkin with the company's original plan, so she made a picture in a red envelope, sent it to her formal friends, and gave them one last chance to make things right. However, she was killed just after she wrote that email, which was why her twin sister, Helen, thought Andy was murdered. She hired Blanc to solve this murder case, but he knew it would be impossible to solve it from the outside, so he devised a plan to come to this island. She impersonated her sister in an attempt to uncover the truth. Andy's sister, Helen, is asked by Detective Blanc to find out whether any of the group members had any possible motives to kill Andy. Through Helen, Blanc learns that almost the whole group has motives to help Miles, as he has been their guardian angel in the past. They also need him to support them in the future, and if Andy had been successful in presenting the real napkin, their whole lives would have changed. Bertie was facing controversy for approving child labor in her brand's Bangladesh factory. Duke also had a public fallout and was now using his girlfriend Whiskey to seduce Miles and get a role on Alpha News. Helen later asked them why they didn't reply to her email, and she learned that although they didn't reply, they tried to contact her by going to her house, but they were unable to meet her for some reason. Now Helen thinks that one of them may have killed Andy, and if that's the case, they must have brought the real napkin here to cash their reward. Blanc asks her to search everyone's room and not be subtle in her search for the napkin. Helen tries to search the rooms when Duke is murdered, and later, she is shot as well by the killer. Luckily the bullet didn't hit her as Andy's journal in her pocket stopped it. Blanc saw this as a great opportunity to further carry on their investigation, so he asked her to pretend to be dead. He faked her death so she could secretly search everyone, including Miles' room, as they thought the killer may have already given him the napkin. Blanc then tells everyone that Miles is the real murderer. He was the one who went to kill Andy after learning about the napkin from Lionel's fax, but while fleeing the scene after the murder, he was seen by Duke. Duke didn't know that Andy had died, but at the party, he got a Google alert about the news, and this was the notification that surprised and made him happy. He showed it to Miles and blackmailed him into giving him a position on his news channel. Miles knew about Duke's allergy to pineapple, so he added pineapple juice to his drink and switched it with Duke's glass. This made everyone think as if the real target was Miles. Helen finds the real napkin and brings it to everyone. Now, Miles has been exposed. He grabs the napkin and burns it, thus, no evidence remains that Andy wrote the real plan for Alpha on a napkin. Miles's betrayal makes everyone angry, and they start destroying his house. Helen also joins them, but she is so angry that she takes Miles's clear and throws it into the fire. This creates a huge explosion, and the whole place, including the painting of the Mona Lisa, gets burnt to the ground. Miles gets angry because not only did he lose his house but also the beloved painting, and now his idea of Clear can never come out to the public as the investigations will find Clear as the source of the explosion. The group decides to testify against him as Miles is useless to them now.